but that's what you wrote. You said here, my lord, that the defendant has now applied for bail. Now, as I've said earlier, bail is a decision of the court taking into consideration all the conditions laid down in Muhammad Abacha v. State. At this stage, I am of the opinion that to make or take a stand on the bail application without first hearing and determining the issue that is glaring in the face, which is the absence of the defendant from the court since 25th of April 2017 until he was produced on the 29th of June. My lord, which was exactly what the Supreme Court did. They said that he did not jump bail. These criminals came to my house to kill me. That's what the Supreme Court said. This is in your own gods, my lord. So I cannot understand, my lord, why my trial will be conducted contrary to the Constitution of Nigeria that said I must have free and unfettered access to my counsel. It's here. This is the law of Nigeria.
These are what I can call Kanu's enemies. And when you are asking your enemy to come to court to testify on your behalf, it's going to be a very difficult position. Because what they are going to say will in fact destroy the evidence of the prosecution. That is the master stroke here. All the people he listed are government persons.
Right.
And so I want to see, especially Malami, who went to kidnap him in Kenya and was very upbeat about it. So where the court will ask him why he did what he did and what law gave him that permission. So let us see how he will regulate out of it. That is if they will come.
About it. Nnamdi Kanu has not committed the kind of sin or the kind of atrocities, the kind of constitutional infraction any Nigerian has committed. Now, you have people like Sunday Igboho, who was arrested with arms. Igboho is going about doing whatever he's doing. Now, you have several kingpins, whether they are bandits, whether they are terrorists, or whether they're anything they are called, they are free and going about their businesses. Nnamdi Kanu is simply expressing his constitutional and humanitarian right. And so to keep on caging Nnamdi Kanu or incarcerating him is not only a disservice to humanity, is also a great constitutional crisis that will come into this country. Let me take it from this point. How do we explain a situation? A man who has stood up clearly that what he is fighting for is the marginalization, perceived marginalization of a certain set of people in this country. And he has a historical anecdote. Now, what is the historical anecdote? The certain people, the Igbo people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, over the decades have been marginalized in this country. It is not a matter of allegation. It is not a matter of perception. It is something that is as strong, as visible, seen everywhere. And then Nnamdi Kanu has stood up as the only person that consistently over the years and had said to everybody that my people are suffering, that my people are not enjoying what they are supposed to enjoy in the country called Nigeria. On account of that, he stood up and questioned the Nigerian state. So now, the Nnamdi Kanu issue is a multi-layered issue. First of all, you need to understand that there is a legal perspective to it, there is a political perspective to it, there is an economic perspective to it. There's also a socio-economic perspective to it. Now let's look at the legal side of it. This is a man that was arrested in 2022. 2021. And when he was arrested, what was he arrested for? The charges were terrorism, treasonable felony, and managing an unlawful society. Now, those are the three things that he was accused of. Now, they went on trial. By 2017, the court granted him bail, and he came out. By 2022, when they attacked his house in Umuahia. The natural instinct for somebody to survive is to see how he can survive. It's just to find a way to exit the environment where he was being attacked. And so he fled the particular scene, and he's fled of the particular scene. He found himself in the UK or wherever it is. And on account of that, they said he has run away. Now, the point being made is that while he was there, an arrangement was done to get him from Kenya, where he went to and brought him back to the country. Since then, the legal issue has remained the way it is. It's not been moving forward. It's not going back. There has been a sustained effort directed by not only directed by the state, but there's some political contending interests within the Nigerian state, within the Igbo elite, within the political class to keep to put Kanu down. So, in the helicopter view, the Kanu phenomenon, the Kanu issue, is one issue that can consume the Nigerian state if it is not well managed. It is beyond the rhetorics we keep on talking about. The Kanu issue is an exemplary issue of to show how we can manage a country. And if that is not done properly, if it is not done methodically, if it is not done with a sense of genuineness on the part of the Nigerian state to see how they can have a political dialogue to manage the situation, it will definitely create more crisis. Of course, as we speak now, the Southeast is agitated. There is a plan of a protest that is coming up. Now, the nature and the reason the entry of that particular protest, that we're also trying to analyze. But one thing remains that there is a very large number of population of Nigerians, whether they're from the southeast, whether they're from the south-south, whether they're from the southwest, whether from the south, from the north to the north. Everybody has one particular focus now to get Nnamdi Kanu out of the place. Then you ask yourself, why is it now that the whole focus, the attention is for Nnamdi Kanu to come out? Is it for the purpose of securing a political capital? That is the question we need to ask ourselves. Why would it be at the timing now that is happening? Whatever timing it is, we're all interested. What we're interested in is Nnamdi Kanu should be left off hook and let him rejoin not only his family. He has a right, because as we speak, his health is bad and he has to go and take medical treatment wherever it is. So finally, regarding Nnamdi Kanu, my position is Nnamdi Kanu has not committed any sin which all the terrorists in this country have committed. Nnamdi Kanu is not as worse as Sunday Igboho. Nnamdi Kanu is not as demonic as the line of terrorists that are lined up in the north. They are everywhere. Nnamdi Kanu is not as evil as the bandits that are spread now. That you have a bandit that will come and have a meeting with the Nigerian state operatives. Yet Nnamdi Kanu, who did not carry gun, who did not do anything that is inhuman to speak like this set of people, is kept incarcerated in a cell. It's time for Nnamdi Kanu to come out from the prison and we can move forward for a political dialogue on how we can reintegrate the Igbo people back to the nation state called Nigeria. There is a huge crisis among the political elite. Now, the lack of cohesion amongst the political elite is one factor that we need to also ask ourselves. Now, you need to find yourself, who are the governors of the Southeast? How did they get to where they are? You're talking about Mba, who just defected to APC. You're talking about Alex Uti. You're talking about Soludo. You're talking about several of the governors in the Southeast. Yes, Francis Wifre and Hope Uzodinma and the rest of them. Now, if I ask you one particular question, in yours, based on the assessment of all that has happened, do you think that Hope Uzodinma would support the release of Nnamdi Kanu? There's no way he will support it.
Why do you think so?
Why I think so is because before his incarceration, you saw the battle, not only the media battle, you saw the punches. You saw not only the verbal punches, you saw the political volleys that was going on between himself and the governor of Imo State. Now, not only that, he sees, Hope Uzodinma sees Nnamdi Kanu as one of those who had made Imo State ungovernable for himself. So no right-thinking or rational governor will want Nnamdi Kanu to come out. But it is time to understand that this is a statesman. I am now a statesman that governs a people, and these parochial things should not be features or factors that I should look into, but rather it should be things I will consider in a broader perspective. So to your question, why is it that people like Hope Uzodinma, who is a governor, would not want to Nnamdi Kanu? I have just addressed that. He would not want, because that time he made it in a way that it becomes very uncomfortable for him to govern the state. So Hope Uzodinma said. Now, for other governors, you need to understand the background of Oti himself. Oti is not a very noisy person. Oti is a very sound, professional, laid back, but organized political leader that is doing much in Abia. And that is his constituency. I do know of a certainty that Oti has been at the background doing a whole lot for Nnamdi Kanu to come out, even though he might not come out in the media to talk about it. But there's a lot of work that's been going on the ground to see how Nnamdi Kanu will come out. First, it is his constituency, because that is where he comes from. Secondly, it will also be a political plus for him. Thirdly, it will now also bolster his chances of re-election. Fourthly, it will put him in a position to even get closer to the president and also to see how they can project the Igbo cause. So I see him being at the forefront of this particular campaign, but he is being also very, very cautious in his movement. Now, for people like Wunfrey of Airborne, I can see neither here nor there where he is. Of course, you should understand his political mentor, Umahi. Umahi is vehemently opposed to anything that has to do with the Biafran cause. So I do not see any difference. I do not see any impact. I do not see any way his boy to speak, or his his political son will want to go to we want to do what he doesn't want to do. So that's for Ebonyi himself. Now for Soludo, you know Soludo's position regarding this. Soludo does not take kindly to anything that has to do with this Biafran cause and all that. And he has voiced that over time. It's not hidden. His position is very clear. Now to your question, why is it that the Southeastern governors are reluctant to come out forcefully to now, as an umbrella body, to see how they can get Nnamdi Kanu out of incarceration? The answer simply is this: everybody is scared of his position of governor, and that how impact on him either during his re-election or their continual governance of that particular state. That is the reason. They're just being selfish about it, and that's why it's time.